after things changed, the old man called me one day and, come here, boy. He said, don't you listen to what those guys telling you out there about the blacksmith going to become a lost art? He said, don't you listen to that. He said, always going to be something for the blacksmith to do. And he told me that about 50 years ago.
And he was right.
And he was right.
Hi, welcome to Forge and Anvil. I'm Alan Rogers. Nowhere in America has more beautiful ironwork than Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where we are today, on Legree Street in front of the Sword Gates. This pair of gates is one of the most beautiful pieces of ironwork in Charleston. They were made in the mid-19th century by a German smith, Christopher Werner. What you'll find in Charleston is a nice mixture of German and French and English influences, as well as a good sound dose of American as well. There are some great smiths that have lived here for many centuries. Today in our show, we will not just be showing you beautiful gates in Charleston, but we will also be showing you some pieces in Nashville at Herndon and Mary, a company that specializes in antique wrought iron from Europe and all over America. We'll also be talking to someone who is most influential in ironwork in Charleston, Philip Simmons. Charleston is a great resource for studying ironwork. You can see not only 18th, 19th, and 20th century work, but you can see the work of some really great masters. Take a sketchbook with you when you walk around the peninsula and just draw various gates, and you'll see how they solve certain problems, how they banded together various pieces. They may have welded, they may have riveted. They solved all sorts of problems that you can learn from. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel every time, and one of the greatest ways to learn about ironwork is just to copy beautiful pieces that have already been made. One person that you could certainly learn from, as I said before, is Philip Simmons. He knows more about ironwork than anybody in Charleston. Well, how long have you been smithing?
I retired the other day. It was 64 years.
64 years.
Right to that, looking at that fire, and I can see you pretty good now, too.
Yeah.
I look in that fire for many years.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's changed a lot. The role that the smith has played here is...
Oh, tremendous change.
And what was it like when you first started? I mean, what did the blacksmiths do when you first started working?
All the blacksmith was doing, repairing the farm implements and making tools, sharpening tools, building wagons, repairing wagons, shoeing horses, and you name them. If you have any knowledge about the Western show and Western shows and how the part the blacksmith played, and you can imagine what Charleston would look like.
And it took, you were saying there were how many smiths on the peninsula?
Right in the peninsula here between the Ashley and the Cooper River, about 15 blacksmiths, and they all was busy. Right in the peninsula, not counting the plantations, because they had their own, most of the farmers, plantation side, their own blacksmith.
And so the smiths in town were doing what you were talking about. They were shoeing horses and
shoeing horses and keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much architectural work was being done then? I mean, were they staying busy building railings and gates? And...
No, most of that used to come from out of town.
Whereabouts?
A lot of pieces came in here from England on this ship, and
really,
I was told.
How did you get started working on gates and railings and stuff?
The blacksmith shop was only about 2 or 3 blocks away from where I was living. And the shoemaker shop was right around the corner. The tinsmith shop was here working. Another craft shop was here. But I chose the blacksmith shop. You know why? I love action, and a lot of action was going on in the blacksmith shop. A lot of action was going on in the blacksmith shop.
Sparks and lots of noise.
And the horse kicking up, and you got to put the twist on them. And I said, that's where I want to be. And the old man hired me. After school, I got $2 a week after school. But I keep shining shoes until I got about 14. And I put down the shoe shine box, newspaper, put it down, and just start making a little thing on my own.
Do you have any idea how many pieces you have in Charleston? How many gates and railings?
Well, the one that ship out of town, and I average around 200 and something gates and fence and other pieces like benches, and I average around 200.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a big life's work there.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, you know.
Do you have any favorites? Are there ones that you like in particular?
Well, the kids in school ask that question.
Oh, do they?
So often. All of the pieces you made, which piece you love the best? And I'm sold on the snake gate, the iron gate, the bird gate, fish gate, palmetto tree, and different things like that. But I kind of sold on the simplest piece I made, the fish gate. You know why?
Why?
Because I took my forge up in Washington, D.C., and I made the fish gate up there, the fishing style gate. It isn't the prettiest piece, but to me it's the most important piece, and it's the most sacrificial piece, because I wasn't in the shop here on Lawrence Street or the other shops where I was, but I had the forge, the fire, the anvil, a hammer, an electric portable grinder, right on the lawn, just like you out there. During the American Folkslife Festival fair.
And you made it during the fair?
During the fair.
Wow.
Thousands of people seeing that yet day by day come by.
Yeah.
One lady, and I told her what I was doing. She was a tourist there, spectator, and I told her I was making a star on fish gate, and she see the piece. And she stayed and watched it until I finished it.
Really?
When I first went into wrought ironwork, those the people, by giving me a job or to make those gates, I wouldn't give nothing for those people, because they took a lot of pride when you draw it up. They took a lot of pride in doing the drawing and the architectural work, and give it to me. I think that's what get people in Charleston enthusiasm to use my service. And so you see, I used to be in the blacksmith shop at the age of 16. I went in there at the age of 13, but when I got the age of 16, I started helping the old man, and he started pieces and I finished it. And people would come by then, spectators, and say, "Philip, what you gonna do now?" He said, "Mr. Thomas and Howard on East Bay, he buying trucks and cars. There won't be any more horses for you to shoe. You in trouble." And they keep telling me that, but they were telling me the truth. It was just, time was just changing just that fast. And I started thinking, but I listened to them. But the old man was listening too. So one day he called me. I like to do my work on the outside of the shop in the summer, take it on the outside. And I was on the outside, he was in there to the forward working, and he heard those guys telling me the real story about the future, what's going to happen in the future. And not only that, it was changing just that fast. So then, you know what I done? After things changed, the old man called me one day and, "Come here, boy." He said, "Don't you listen to what those guys telling you out there about the blacksmith going to become a lost art?" He said, "Don't you listen to that." He said, "Always going to be something for the blacksmith to do." And he told me that about 50 years ago.
And he was right.
And he was right. He saw the handwriting on the wall. He saw the handwriting on the wall. And I couldn't see it, but I listened to him. It's good to listen sometime.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's good to listen sometime. So all of the other blacksmiths went away. They went off into other jobs. Some went to New York, and I was left here alone doing blacksmith work. People live around here, No, the old trade was still going on. But people in inner cities, and they thought the blacksmith always out of business.
Just disappeared from the face of the earth.
Disappeared from the face of the earth.
Well, we're glad you hadn't, and we appreciate you talking to us, Mr. Simmons.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm glad I got them. I brought fires.
As we saw in our interview with Philip Simmons, he likes to work in natural motifs, leaves and all sorts of natural motifs, but he also does beautiful geometrics. One motif you'll see over and over again in Charleston is this circular one, or a wheel of life as we call it. We're going to show you how to make one of these and turn it into a trivet. Let's go back to the forge. The more complex a project, the more planning is necessary, and there are a lot of different ways to plan your blacksmithing project. One of the best ways, of course, is to make a drawing, pencil and paper, but then how do you blow it up into the real size that you want to use? There are all sorts of ways to do this, and we've shown you several ways through the course of this series. Some people make paper models. People like Ivan Bailey make clay models for their smaller pieces, etc. There are lots of different ways to do it. I like to draw my full-scale drawings right here on the table. It's fireproof. It can stand a hot piece. When I'm making something, I can lay it right on the drawing and tell what I want. Also, it helps me plan. I can visualize the piece in its full scale instead of drawing it on a smaller scale. Many times a piece comes to me and I have to sit down with a paper and pad and draw it. But when I actually start to make it, I usually put it on the table some way. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now what we want to do today is to make a trivet, of course, and we're going to try to make it about 16 by 16. I think that would be a real good size for us. That'll hold a large plant. It could also be used for holding a very large Dutch oven or something hot, you know, a hot pot on your table. So you measure out 16 inches. Okay, there you have your pattern. Now from here what we can do is pick out the best G-scroll we have, and then we need to determine the length of stock that we're going to use. So I think none of them look great, but this one looks pretty good, so let's use it. Take string and knot one end of it so you have a nice firm point of reference. Then you start on your scroll and run it around your scroll like this, exactly matching the outside of the scroll as best you can. The first step in making our trivet is to cut 8 pieces 24 inches long of half-inch round stock. You also need 4 pieces about an inch long of the same half-inch round stock to use for legs for the trivet, because you want to raise it up off the ground just a little bit. So our first operation will be to draw a point on this piece of round stock. So here we go. First, flatten it out. Now we're ready to round off those corners and give ourselves a nice round point. Now we want to scroll this over. Hold it over the bick of the anvil and bring it around like this, and then work it freeform back into a curl. Generally you want to make this about 2 inches across. Where the curl stops and the straight part begins, hang it over the anvil, hanging the straight part over the off side of the bick, and strike lightly. This will continue your curve around and make the most out of your heat. Then you put it back in the fire and try to heat from approximately here to here. When you reach this heat, a bright orange heat, continue to scroll. You want to strike it right about there. And that's it. I lay them on my pattern here and try to get them to fit within this 16-inch box. You might have to move a few around while you're doing it. In fact, this one's nice and long. It needs to go there. And if you adjust a little bit, eventually you'll get a nice fit in there. What we're going to be doing is welding right in here and welding where each of these pairs of scrolls meet. Once you've welded it all up and ground it off, you're ready to paint. While I'm painting this piece, we're going to take you to see Herndon and Mary, one of the best collections of antique wrought iron from both England and America that you'll find anywhere. They're in Nashville, and they build some beautiful new gates as well. So y'all check that out while I'm doing this. Just amazing collection of old things here. But you haven't always worked with this kind of thing, have you, Bill?
That's correct, Alan. Herndon and Mary started in 1959, and we started out like most small ornamental iron shops doing a lot of miscellaneous type work. But through the 60s and 70s and even into the early 80s, we focused primarily on carports, patios, security doors, burglar bars, and things that most people associate with ornamental iron companies. While at that time we were doing gates and entrances and higher-end ornamental iron, it was not the focus of our business.
Mm-hmm. How did you move into higher-end iron? I mean, what made the transition?
Well, the market made the transition for us. Our customers made the transition. Architectural taste started to change through the 80s and even now into the 90s. And so we started to refocus our business on higher-end ornamental iron, using our design capabilities that we have and our good craftsmen that we employ here to produce very high-end ornamental iron products. And these range anywhere from gates to entry gates to railings, balconies, and just the higher-end ornamental iron type product.
All of this old stuff, which is really your area, isn't it, Keith? I mean, how did y'all, what got prompted you to get into this older ironwork?
Well, we did see landscape architects from other areas bring us pieces they had bought at other architectural marts that were 19th century ironwork, asking us to cut a stub off, clean, repaint it, hang it for me, make something out of it. So that's what kind of spurred the idea. We started in the beginning with a very small collection, but now probably have one of the largest collections in the south or southeast of antique ironwork and other architectural type antiques. We have about over 2,000 pieces here. 3/4 of it is American ironwork, probably 1/4 of it is European ironwork, so it's a great education for us to be able to buy and see these items for ourselves, not only from a design standpoint, but from a sales standpoint. And it's a lot of fun working with the old as well.
Oh, it's like a museum. We have something from every era, just about recent history, and certainly from many different countries. Like this piece here, where did this come from?
This is a European piece, and the European pieces tend to stand out a little more from the American ironwork, not only in fine detail, but in weight and sheer classical design. We see a lot of other time periods in American ironwork, especially the heavy Victorian look in the late 19th century, which is most of what we have in here. But these very classical European balconies are timeless in their design, and over a period of time, these will never go out of style.
Right, and sometimes when you get them, you have to do some reconditioning and...
Sure do, and we have everything in-house here to be able to do that. If it's replacement of a small piece or totally refabricating some scroll work that needs done. And we many times use the authentic ways of drilling and pinning and tapping things together, the old-timey way, if that's what the customer would like.
Well, it's a great education just to see all these pieces. This is one of the finest collections I've seen. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Keith.
Thank you, Alan. Come and see us anytime.
I will, thanks. This is St. Philip's Episcopal Church in Charleston. It's really a beautiful gate here, and it's all wrought. Many people combine cast and wrought elements, but that doesn't take place here. One of the very most influential people in blacksmithing in America in the 20th century was Samuel B. Yellen. Let's go visit Jack Andrews in Philadelphia, and he'll tell us something about him. America has produced many great craftsmen, among them Samuel Yellen, a blacksmith of great reputation and perhaps one of the greatest influences on American blacksmithing in the 20th century. The man who's written the definitive work on Samuel Yellen is Jack Andrews, and we've asked him here to tell us a little something about this American master. Welcome to the program, Jack.
Thank you.
Tell us a little something about Mr. Yellen's history. When was he born?
Well, he was born in 1885 in a small village in Galicia, Poland. And he grew up there at 12. He decided to, well, he wanted to work with his hands, so he apprenticed with a local blacksmith. And in 5 years, he got his master's paper, and then started to move around the great European cities where the great iron is. He had various odd jobs around Philadelphia. In 1909, he started his own studio, his own forge, with a few men. 1911, he opened another shop. a little bit larger, better facilities, and things started to grow and started to happen. He met very important people. He was teaching at the Pennsylvania Museum School of Industrial Art. It was then associated with the museum that we're sitting in. It's no longer associated with that. It's now the University of the Arts. But at any rate, he was teaching there, setting up these shops, making contacts of all interesting kinds, architects and important clients. One of the important architects was Muller Meigs, perhaps the most influential on him. And in 1950, Muller Meigs designed for him his own shop in West Philly at 5520 Arch Street. Then things really started to grow and happen. To the extent of 1922, he received the largest commission ever done for decorative wrought iron, similar to the pieces that we're talking about here, not structural at all. And this was the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And it was 200 tons of decorative wrought iron delivered to that site when it was finished in 1924. Wow. It took him roughly 2 years to do the whole job. In 1928, he had 256 craftsmen of various types and people working for him in his shop in West Philadelphia.
That's a huge number. How did he coordinate all those people? Was he in charge? Was he?
Well, he orchestrated the whole thing, and he did it by the people he assigned the various tasks to. The person in charge of the overall shop was Joseph Konetsky, and Konetsky then worked with the men in the other departments. In forging, as an example, which was on the ground floor, there was Baccanero. As you go upstairs to fitting and the reprise work, there was Winsey and other people. Even one department for just polishing, that is bringing the patina of these pieces out. He was Rossi. And so you had all of these men with their very specialized kinds of tasks and skills working to pull all of this together. So it was a real team effort. It was like a symphony orchestra, which it truly was, and Yellen had the baton.
Yes. He was a designer. I think probably what people really remember him for the most today is just the beautiful designs that he came up with, that are spread all over this city and others.
Yes. Normally, there were about 10% of the workforce were in the design and the drafting room, actually creating designs and doing all the working drawings and things for the pieces before they would go to the shop. And Yellen would be constantly in there. There's always on these drawings, you see the little notes, don't use this one, or this is the one, and a little bit of a sketch here or there, what he would actually draw in. No, he was very intimately involved with every piece.
Now, as I understood from your book, they did a full-scale drawing in charcoal of each commission.
Correct.
And we've been trying to show people in our program, you know, how to plan out a piece, and we've shown them how to do it with clay and whatnot. But a full-scale drawing, that's quite an effort in and of itself. Effort
because some of the pieces were so large. As an example, in the drafting room, the ceiling was 14 feet tall, and they had a long bar with nails on it, and which were sticking out, and they would put the drawing up on that, a charcoal drawing, so it looked like wrought iron. It was very good rendering. They'd haul it up, bring the architects and clients in, and they would say go or no go, or make corrections and changes.
Oh, man, that's wonderful, because then you've got a much better handle on whether your client's knows what he's getting.
That's right, and that was one of the keys about Yellen, this intimate contact with the architect and the client. He worked very closely with them, and he was a very delightful person, very friendly, loquacious, very happy.
And even though he did work closely with them, they tended to give him an incredible amount of freedom, didn't they? I mean, he...
Exactly. In the case of the bank building, the Packard building, it was done by Ritter and Shea in 1924. You see a large framework of stone, 24 by 39 as a matter of fact. And on the working drawing you see Yellen for gate details.
So they let him just design it any way he wanted?
It was his job.
Oh, that's just incredible, and that's a truly beautiful gate.
Yeah.
With that large a shop working for him, hundreds of people, he must have left behind quite a legacy in terms of working blacksmiths. What can you tell us about that? I mean, is there a clear influence of Yellen among?
In many businesses, you know, there's the place to go, the shop to work to, or the school to go to. Yellen was a place to go to work.
But even still, he has to be probably the prime influence in American blacksmithing. No one has really provided so many beautiful pieces to the American cities and universities.
In my view, yes. I think you're absolutely right. There have been a lot of other smiths, but when you come to actually see the work that was done during this period, that is the building revival period in the United States, where architects were building the important universities, banks, and churches, like the Washington Cathedral, the Federal Reserve Bank job, and that type of thing, that the work that Yellen really wanted to do and loved to do was aptly suited to these buildings. So he was at a time and place, a critical juncture in history, which was just great.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Jack.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
To obtain your personal copy of Alan Rogers' Forge and Anvil companion book, including project details and expanded videotapes of Forge and Anvil projects, send $15 for the book, $35 for tapes, or $39.95 for both. Call 1-800-359-4040 for credit card orders. Make checks payable to the University of Georgia and send them to Forge and Anvil, University of Georgia, Georgia Center, Athens, Georgia, 30602-3603.
We hope you enjoyed our tour of Charleston and all the beautiful ironwork here, and enjoyed our interview with Philip Simmons as well. He's a true treasure for Charleston and for South Carolina and for all blacksmiths. If you ever get a chance, come down to Charleston, walk around and look at all these beautiful gates, or take a tour in one of these carriages and get the tour from a tour guide, because they can tell you things that you won't find in the books. Join us next time on Forge and Anvil. So what is this church on the right here? Is that a church? Or is that
this is First Scotch Presbyterian Church. And that's a silent church.